Hello there, and welcome to the AstroSleep channel. I am so glad you found your way here tonight. Maybe you have had a long day, filled with noise and movement, or maybe your mind is simply still turning, recounting the hours that have passed. Whatever brought you here, know that you have arrived at a sanctuary of stillness. Tonight, we are not just looking up at the sky from the safety of the ground. We are going to undertake a journey, a slow and deliberate drift away from the familiar warmth of our home, traveling outward to the very edge of our solar system. We are setting our course for a world of deep, eternal blue, a place of silence and mystery known as Neptune. But before we begin this long voyage into the velvet dark, let us first attend to the vessel that carries you through this life. I invite you to find a position that feels completely supported. Let your body sink into the surface beneath you. Feel the mattress or the chair rising up to meet you, holding you securely so that you do not need to hold yourself up any longer. There is no effort required here. There is no need to be anywhere else or to be anyone else. The day is done. The demands of the world have faded into the background, and all that remains is this moment, this quiet space, and the sound of my voice guiding you toward rest. Take a deep, slow breath in, filling your lungs with cool, calming air, and as you exhale, let it be a long, slow release, as if you are sighing out the tension of the day. Feel your shoulders drop away from your ears. Feel your jaw loosen. Let the small muscles around your eyes soften and smooth out. Imagine a wave of relaxation beginning at the very top of your head. A warm and gentle current that flows slowly down through your body. It washes over your forehead, down your neck, spreading across your chest and into your arms. It flows down your spine, unknots the tension in your back, and settles deep into your hips. Let your legs become heavy. Let your feet turn outward, completely relaxed. You are heavy, warm, and safe. As your body settles, allow your mind to detach from the tether of the earth. Imagine that you are becoming lighter than air. You are lifting gently, floating up through the ceiling, up into the cool night air. Below you, the lights of your city or your town begin to twinkle and fade, becoming small, distant stars on the ground. The higher you rise, the quieter it becomes. The sounds of traffic, of voices, of the wind in the trees, all of it falls away, replaced by a profound and expansive silence. You are drifting upward, past the clouds, past the atmosphere, until you are floating in the vast, open ocean of space. Here, the sun is just a bright star in the distance. The earth is a beautiful, fragile marble of blue and white, slowly shrinking as we move away. We are drifting outward, past the orbit of Mars with its rusty red dust. We float silently past the colossal majesty of Jupiter, its storms churning in a silent ballet. We glide by the golden rings of Saturn, shining in the darkness like a crown of ancient ice. We are moving deeper into the dark, further from the warmth, toward the outer reaches where the silence is absolute. Ahead of us lies our destination. Out here, billions of kilometers from home, there is a world that waits in the shadows. It is the windy giant, the ice giant, the blue planet that guards the edge of our celestial neighborhood, Neptune. It is a place of wonders, a realm of diamond rain and supersonic winds that sing in the dark. But do not fear the cold or the distance. In our journey tonight, these forces are not dangerous. They are simply part of the grand, slow rhythm of the universe, a rhythm that you are now a part of. We will drift through its icy rings. We will wander across the surface of its mysterious moon, Triton. We will listen to the silent stories of a planet that was discovered by mathematics before it was ever seen by human eyes. We will find comfort in its vastness and peace in its solitude. If these calm, curious explorations help you unwind, I invite you to like or subscribe. It helps other sleepy souls find their way here too. And now, there is nothing left for you to do but rest. Let your mind relax, your breathing slow, and your body become light, as if gravity has eased. We are approaching the blue giant now. The darkness around us is soft and welcoming. The stars are steady and unblinking. Let us begin our drift into the mystery. There is a kind of sight that does not require eyes. There is a way of seeing that happens not with light, but with thought, with logic, and with the quiet, rhythmic language of numbers. Most of the universe is revealed to us through the lens of a telescope, through the gathering of ancient starlight that has traveled across the vast, empty oceans of space to reach us. But the story of Neptune is different. It is a story that begins not with a view, but with a whisper. It begins with a feeling, a subtle sensing that something else was out there, hiding in the dark, waiting to be found. Technically, if the conditions were perfect, and if the night was absolute in its darkness, and if you possessed eyesight sharper than most, you might be able to see almost all the planets in our solar system at one time or another. They appear as wandering stars, bright points of light that drift slowly against the fixed backdrop of the cosmos. But there is one exception. There is one sibling in our planetary family that remains hidden from our unaided gaze. That planet is Neptune. It is the smallest of the icy giants, and it is the furthest away. It sits so deep in the shadows, so far from the warmth of the sun, that for most of human history, we did not know it existed. It was a ghost. It was a silent presence that orbited in the blackness, unseen and unheard. It is truly a wonder that we found it at all. And the way we found it is perhaps the most soothing story in the history of astronomy. Because unlike every other planet in the solar system, unlike Mars with its red glare or Jupiter with its brilliant bands, Neptune was not discovered by merely being spotted with a telescope. Its discovery was not an accident of observation. It was not a chance encounter between a lens and a beam of light. Neptune is the only planet found through the power of mathematical prediction. It was found in the mind before it was found in the sky. To understand this quiet miracle, we must drift back in time. We must let our minds wander back to the year 1846. Imagine the world of the mid-19th century. There were no electric lights to drown out the stars. The nights were darker, deeper, and perhaps a little more silent than they are today. In the studies and observatories of Europe, astronomers were watching the sky with a patient, obsessive dedication. They were mapping the movements of the known planets, tracing their paths like celestial clockwork. At that time, the solar system was thought to end with Uranus. Uranus was the limit, the final frontier, the last lonely outpost of our sun's kingdom. But there was a problem with Uranus. As astronomers tracked its slow, cold journey across the night, they noticed that it was behaving strangely. It was not moving exactly as it should. It was drifting. It was wandering. It seemed to be defying the very laws of physics that governed the rest of the universe. A brilliant French astronomer and mathematician named Urbain Jean-Joseph Le Verrier began to examine this mystery. Leverrier was a man of the study, a man of pen and paper, a man who listened to the silent music of equations. He looked at the rotation of the 7 known planets, and he looked specifically at Uranus, and he saw that something was off. The planet was lagging when it should have been speeding up, and speeding up when it should have been lagging. It didn't seem to be moving in line with the theories of gravity proposed by Newtonian physics. In the quiet of his room, surrounded by stacks of paper and the soft glow of candlelight, Leverrier reasoned that there could be only one explanation. The laws of the universe were not broken. The math was not wrong. Therefore, there must be something else. He realized that there must be another planet, a massive, invisible body out beyond the orbit of Uranus. He realized that this unseen giant was reaching out across the billions of kilometers of empty space, using its gravity to gently pull on Uranus, tugging at it. It was a gravitational conversation between two giants. A whisper passed from one world to another in the dark. And so, Leverrier did not go to a telescope. He did not climb the stairs to a cold observatory dome. Instead, he stayed at his desk. He dipped his pen into the ink, and he began to calculate. He did some maths, but to call it merely maths is to simplify the beauty of what he did. He was weaving a net of logic. He was tracing the invisible threads of gravity that bind the solar system together. He was calculating the mass, the orbit, and the position of a world he had never seen. He was listening to the echoes of the planet's influence, and from those echoes, he was reconstructing the planet itself. Days turned into nights, and nights turned into days. The world outside his window continued its busy, noisy life, but inside the study, there was only the scratching of the pen and the slow, steady unfolding of the truth. It was a meditative process, a deep immersion into the abstract realm where the universe is made of pure order. Leverrier worked with a certainty that is rare in this life. He trusted the logic of the cosmos. He knew that gravity was a constant, a faithful force that would not lie. If Uranus was moving, something was moving it. Finally, the work was done. He declared that his 8th planet must exist. And more than that, he declared that it must be at an exact point in the night sky. He pointed his finger at a blank spot on the star map and said, essentially, "It is there. Look there and you will find it." He sent his prediction to a friend, an astronomer named Johann Gottfried Galle, who was working at the Berlin Observatory. Imagine the letter traveling across Europe, carried by horse and rail, a piece of paper containing the secret coordinates of a new world. It arrived on a crisp day in September. Johann Galle read the letter. He saw the confidence in Leverrier's numbers. He felt the weight of the possibility. That very night, the night of September 23rd, 1846, Galle went to the observatory. He opened the dome to the cool night air. The sky was clear, a vast canopy of diamonds scattered on black velvet. The city of Berlin slept beneath him, quiet and still. Galle was not alone. He had an assistant, Heinrich d'Arrest, who read the star charts while Galle looked through the eyepiece. The telescope, a great brass and glass eye, swung silently on its mount. It turned, pivoting smoothly, guided by the coordinates Leverrier had calculated. It pointed toward the constellation of Aquarius, the water-bearer. Galle looked into the eyepiece. He saw the familiar field of stars, the fixed points of light that had been there for centuries. But then he saw something else. There, in the field of view, was a small, blue disk. It had a tiny, discernible shape. It was soft. It was dim. Galley called out to his assistant. They checked the charts. The star chart showed nothing in that spot. The sky was supposed to be empty there, but the telescope showed a presence. It was almost exactly where Leverrier had predicted it would be. The incredible thing was that after hearing the prediction, Gal had searched in that location and, sure enough, discovered the planet Neptune in a single hour. It did not take years of searching. It did not take a lifetime of scanning the heavens. The planet was waiting. It had been waiting there for billions of years, orbiting in its slow, wide circle, waiting for a mind on a small, warm rock near the sun to understand that it was there. Neptune was found. The solar system had suddenly doubled in size. The known boundary of our home had been pushed back deep into the dark. And yet, the discovery felt less like a shock and more like a confirmation. It was a confirmation that the universe is an orderly place, that it follows a rhythm and a reason. It was a confirmation that even in the deepest shadows, there is structure. Just a few days later, Neptune revealed another secret. Its biggest moon, Triton, was discovered. It was as if, once the veil had been lifted, the wonders of this distant realm were eager to show themselves. But even with these discoveries, Neptune remained a place of profound mystery. It was just a point of light, a blue spark at the very edge of deep space. For us, drifting here in the safety of our imagination, the story of this discovery is a reminder of the power of quiet contemplation. Leverrier did not find Neptune by running or shouting or forcing his way into the dark. He found it by sitting still. He found it by thinking. He found it by trusting in the unseen connections that hold the world together. There is a comfort in knowing that there are things in this universe that are true, whether we see them or not. The planets spin, the stars burn. The logic of the cosmos holds us in a gentle, stable embrace, just as it held Uranus, and just as it held the invisible Neptune. As we linger on this thought, imagine that you are there in that observatory in 1846. The air is cool and still. The smell of old paper and polished brass surrounds you. The only sound is the soft ticking of a clock and the gentle hum of the wind outside the dome. You look through the glass, and you see that pale blue dot floating in the sea of night. It is far away, so very far away. But it is there. It is real, and it is part of the same family of worlds that you belong to. We have found the invisible. We have named the silence, and now we can begin to drift towards it. We can leave the observatory, leave the Earth behind and move outward, crossing the immense, quiet ocean of distance that separates us from that beautiful blue sphere. The journey is long, but we have time. We have all the time in the world. And as we drift, we can feel an even larger rhythm, a slower, more ancient pulse that belongs to the galactic year. We are moving away from the sun now. We are moving into the deep. To understand Neptune, we must first make peace with the concept of distance. In our daily lives, we measure distance in steps, in kilometers, or in hours. But out here, where the silence reigns, distance is not a barrier. Distance is a feeling. It is a vast open room in which we can breathe. It is a measure of solitude and a measure of peace. Neptune is the 8th and furthest planet from the Sun. but simply saying it is the 8th does not capture the feeling of how far we have traveled. To truly feel the location of this ice giant, we must imagine the solar system not as a diagram on a page, but as a vast, echoing canyon of space. We start at the center, with the Sun, a roaring hearth of fire and light. Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars are huddled close to this warmth, like travelers gathering around a campfire on a cold night. But Neptune is not there. Neptune is far out in the darkness, walking alone at the very edge of the light. It orbits at a distance of about 30 astronomical units. 1 astronomical unit is the distance from the Earth to the Sun. So, to reach Neptune, you must travel that journey 30 times over. You must travel the distance from the Earth to the Sun, and then do it again and again and again, 30 times, moving deeper and deeper into the cooling shadow. In the language of kilometers, this distance is almost incomprehensible. It is 4.5 billion kilometers. It is a number so large that it loses its sharp edges and becomes soft, like a cloud. 4.5 billion kilometers of empty, quiet vacuum. 4.5 billion kilometers where there is nothing to bump into, nothing to slow you down, nothing to disturb the perfect stillness of your drift. Because of this immense separation, our icy neighbor is certainly difficult to study. It guards its secrets behind a veil of distance. You can see why it would take a space probe using current technology 13 years to reach Neptune. 13 years of sleeping in the void, with the Sun growing smaller and smaller behind you, and the blue pearl of Neptune growing slowly, so very slowly, ahead of you. It is not a journey for the impatient. It is a pilgrimage of patience. It is a long, slow exhale that lasts for over a decade. As we drift across this distance, the light begins to change. Back on Earth, the Sun is a dominant force. It rules the sky. It warms our skin. It casts sharp shadows. But as we move outward, past Jupiter, past Saturn, past Uranus, the Sun begins to retreat. It loses its dominance. It becomes polite. It becomes gentle. By the time we arrive at Neptune, the Sun is only 1/30th of the size it appears in Earth's sky. It is no longer a blinding disk. It has become a star. The brightest star in the sky, yes, but still just a star. It hangs there in the blackness, a small, intense point of brilliance that offers a cold, silver light. Neptune receives roughly 1,000th of the sunlight that Earth does. Imagine the dimmest twilight you have ever seen. Imagine the moment just after the sun has set, when the world turns grey and blue, and the edges of objects become soft and indistinct. That is the eternal lighting of Neptune. It is a world of perpetual dusk. It is a world that never squints. The light there is never harsh. It is a soft, ambient glow that barely warms the atmosphere. This dim lighting and vast distance from us means that Neptune couldn't be studied from ground-based telescopes very easily. For a long time, it was just a smudge in the dark. But there is beauty in this dimness. In a world with less light, there is more mystery. In a world with less heat, there is more stillness. The cold is a preservative. It keeps the planet suspended in a state of icy grace, unaffected by the chaotic energy of the inner solar system. At certain points of its year, Neptune can even be further away from the Sun than Pluto. It wanders into the deepest parts of the dark, touching the very edge of the Kuiper Belt, that realm of icy rocks and ancient debris. It is the gatekeeper. Beyond its orbit, the solar system begins to fray, dissolving into the great, wide nothingness of interstellar space. Neptune stands at the threshold, looking out into the void, a silent sentinel patrolling the border between our home and the rest of the galaxy. And as it patrols, it moves with a slowness that is hypnotic. Everything out here happens in slow motion. The gravity of the sun is weak, a faint tether that gently guides the planet in a wide, lazy arc. Because of this long orbit, it takes a huge, unhurried 165 years to orbit the sun just once. Think about that span of time. 165 years. 1 year on Neptune is longer than a human lifetime. It is longer than the lives of your parents and their parents. Generations of people are born, grow old, and pass away on Earth. Empires rise and fall. Cities are built and crumble. And all the while, Neptune has not even finished one single circle around the sun. It means we have only seen one Neptunian year since its discovery. Since the night galley first spotted it in his telescope in 1846, the planet has made exactly one lap. It has completed one slow, majestic turn. It is a rhythm so slow that it feels like stillness. It is a reminder that the universe does not operate on our schedule. It has its own time, a deep time, a geological time that flows like a glacier. There is a profound comfort in this slowness. In a world that demands we rush, that demands we move faster and achieve more, Neptune offers a different wisdom. It tells us that there is no need to hurry. It tells us that it is okay to take your time. It is okay to move slowly. It is okay to simply drift. Imagine yourself matching this rhythm. Imagine your breathing slowing down to match the orbital pace of Neptune. Inhale and wait and wait and exhale and wait and wait. There is no rush to the next breath. There is no rush to the next moment. You are floating in the vast 4.5 billion kilometer gap between the noise and the silence. The distance creates a buffer. All the worries of the inner planets, all the noise of Earth, it cannot reach you here. It is too far. The sound waves die out long before they cross the abyss. Here, there is only the sound of your own heartbeat and the imaginary sound of the solar wind, a gentle stream of particles washing over the planet's magnetic field like water over a smooth stone. We have traveled the distance. We have crossed the void. And now, appearing out of the eternal twilight, the planet looms before us. It is huge. It is silent. And it is overwhelmingly, beautifully blue. We are no longer looking at a point of light. We are looking at a world. We are about to enter its atmosphere, to sink into its deep azure clouds. The journey of distance is over. The journey of depth is about to begin. We have left the vacuum behind, and we are approaching the veil of mist and wind. The giant awaits us, wrapped in its cold blue blanket, ready to welcome us into its sky. And still we drift. We float closer, feeling the subtle pull of its gravity, a gentle hand reaching out to draw us in. The stars above are sharp and clear, but below us, the universe is turning into a sea of indigo. We are arriving at the edge of the blue. As we drift closer, the black velvet of space begins to change. The sharp, diamond-hard points of the distant stars start to blur, veiled by a rising mist. We are leaving the vacuum behind and entering the realm of substance. We are sinking into the embrace of the blue giant. The first thing you notice is the color. It is not merely a surface, it is a depth. It is a blue so profound, so absolute, that it feels less like a color and more like an emotion. It is the color of the deep ocean at midnight. It is the color of silence. Neptune is known as the Big Blue Planet, but this hue is not painted on a solid crust. It is the result of the atmosphere itself, a thick, enveloping blanket of gas that wraps the planet in mystery. As we float down into the upper layers, we find ourselves surrounded by the lightest elements in the universe. Hydrogen was found to be the most common element in Neptune's atmosphere, making up 80% of it. Hydrogen, the first element, the primordial breath of the cosmos, floats here in vast, invisible clouds. It is joined by helium, the noble gas, adding its weightless presence to the mix. But the secret to the planet's stunning color lies in the remaining fraction. Sitting at roughly 19% is methane. It is this methane that gives the planet its blue appearance. Imagine the sunlight, that weak, pale sunlight that has traveled 4.5 billion kilometers to reach this place, falling upon the clouds. The methane acts as a gentle filter. It absorbs the red wavelengths of the light, holding them back, keeping the warmth for itself. It scatters the blue light back out into space, turning the entire planet into a glowing sapphire. It is a world where the sunset never fades to orange, but deepens into an eternal indigo. We are drifting now through this methane mist. The temperature here is a realm of preserved stillness. Neptune's distance from the Sun means the average temperature in Neptune's atmosphere is very cold, -201 degrees Celsius. But in our journey, this cold is not biting. It is clarifying. It is a crisp, clean sensation, like the air on a high mountain peak, but magnified 1,000 times. It is a cold that slows everything down, a cold that preserves the peace of the ages. It creates a stratosphere of ice crystals where diamond dust might sparkle in the twilight. And yet, within this frozen stillness there is movement, but it is not the chaotic, jagged movement of a storm on Earth. It is a movement of grand, sweeping majesty. Voyager 2 measured extraordinary wind speeds in Neptune's atmosphere. But do not think of them as gusts that rattle the windows. Think of them as currents in a deep, wide river. The equatorial winds are blowing at speeds reaching a staggering 2,160 kilometers per hour. It is nearly a supersonic flow. Imagine a wind that moves faster than the speed of sound. On Earth, this would be a sonic boom, a crack of thunder. But here, in the vast open skies of Neptune, there is nothing to break the sound against. There are no trees to bend, no buildings to shake. There is only the wind itself, flowing smoothly, endlessly, around the curvature of the planet. It is a stream of air so fast that it becomes silent. It is a river of sky that circles the world. If you were to float in this current, you would not feel buffeted or tossed around. You would simply become part of the flow. You would be carried along, weightless and free, traveling at speeds we can barely comprehend, yet feeling nothing but a gentle suspension. You are drifting in the jet stream of a giant. And interestingly, most wind travels retrograde to the rotation of the planet. This is a detail of exquisite beauty. The planet spins in one direction, turning slowly on its axis, while the winds blow in the opposite direction. It is a counterflow. It is a celestial dance of opposition. The solid core below turns east, while the winds above flow west. It creates a sensation of slipping backward, of gently resisting the turn of the world. It is a reminder that even in a system bound by gravity, there is room for independence. There is room to move against the grain. These remarkable speeds highlighted just how dynamic the weather systems are. But dynamic here does not mean noisy. It means alive. It means that the planet is breathing. The atmosphere rises and falls, circulates and flows, driven by that mysterious internal heat we spoke of. The winds are the planet's way of distributing its energy, a circulation system that keeps the cold from becoming absolute. As we sink deeper, passing through layers of cloud that look like spun sugar and frozen fog, we realize that there is no bottom to this sky. On Earth, the sky ends at the ground, but on Neptune, the sky just becomes denser. The mist thickens into a fog, the fog thickens into a slush, and the slush eventually becomes a hot, fluid ocean. But there is no hard surface to land on. There is only a gradual transition from gas to liquid, a soft boundary that you could float through without ever feeling a bump. We are suspended in the upper atmosphere, the realm of the clouds. We see bright streaks of white, clouds of frozen methane ice, casting long shadows on the blue deck below. They look like cirrus clouds on Earth, delicate and feathery, but they are massive, stretching for thousands of kilometers. They drift along the bands of latitude, carried by those supersonic winds, silent travelers in a silent world. This is a place of solitude. It is a place where you can be completely alone with your thoughts. The blue surrounds you on all sides, above, below, to the left, and to the right. There is no horizon, only a gradient of light fading into dark. It is a sensory deprivation tank on a planetary scale. The blue light soothes the eyes. The steady hum of the wind soothes the ears. The weightlessness soothes the body. You are part of the atmosphere now. You are a molecule of hydrogen, light, and free. You are a crystal of methane ice, glittering in the dim sun. You are a current of air, flowing forever around the world. The worries of the solid ground cannot reach you here. There is no ground to hold them. There is only the drift. There is only the flow. And as we ride these winds, we begin to see shapes emerging from the blue. Darker shapes, shadows that swirl and turn. We are approaching the great storms of Neptune. The wandering vortices that appear and disappear like dreams. But even these storms are not to be feared. They are simply another part of the planet's slow, rhythmic breathing. Let us drift towards them. Let us see what lies within the spinning shadows. Let us move from the river of wind into the quiet eye of the storm. The journey continues, deeper into the blue, deeper into the mystery. If the atmosphere of Neptune is a vast, flowing ocean of gas, then the storms of Neptune are its whirlpools. They are the deep, turning eyes of the planet, watching the silence of space with a gaze that is both ancient and temporary. As we drift closer to the cloud tops, moving gently through the mist of frozen methane, we begin to see them. We see the places where the wind curls in on itself, where the currents knot together to create something darker, something deeper than the surrounding blue. This planet is home to colossal storms, but the word storm perhaps carries too much weight, too much noise from our experiences on Earth. Here, a storm is not a violent disruption. It is a grand, slow-motion event. It is a majestic gathering of energy that turns silently in the twilight. When the spacecraft Voyager 2 passed by in 1989, it saw the most famous of these wandering spirits. It was named the Great Dark Spot. Imagine looking down at a sea of perfect, unbroken azure, and then seeing a shadow. It was a storm about the size of Earth passing through its atmosphere. Think of that scale, an entire world, a space large enough to hold every mountain, every ocean, every city, and every person you have ever known, fits comfortably inside this single, spinning oval of darkness. It is a reminder of how small we are and how vast the universe is. And yet, this vastness is not frightening. It is liberating. If a storm can be the size of a planet, then your worries, which feel so large, are truly smaller than a grain of sand in this cosmic wind. You can let them go. You can let them drift away, just as the Great Dark Spot drifted through the southern hemisphere of Neptune. This turbulent storm seemed to be rotating counterclockwise. It turned against the grain, a rebel in the flow. It spun with a slow, hypnotic rhythm, like a coin spinning on a table just before it falls flat. But despite its lazy appearance from a distance, the forces within were moving with unimaginable swiftness. It exhibited winds reaching up to 2,400 kilometers per hour, the strongest recorded in the solar system. 2,400 kilometers per hour. It is a speed that defies our understanding of wind. On Earth, wind screams. It howls. It tears at the trees. But here, in the frictionless fluid of Neptune's atmosphere, the wind likely makes no sound at all. It is a pure, unhindered rush. It is a river of air sliding over a bed of air. To be inside it would be to surrender completely to the flow. There is no resisting such a force. There is only acceptance. There is only the feeling of being carried, of being swept along by a power far greater than yourself. It is the ultimate sensation of letting go. Just like the Great Red Spot on Jupiter, this dark vortex seemed to be a fixture of the planet. Astronomers watched it with awe. They studied its shape. They watched as bright, white clouds made of methane ice crystals, danced around its edges like moths drawn to a lantern. These companion clouds changed shape, shifting and morphing in the high winds, playing a game of light and shadow against the dark heart of the storm. But Neptune is not Jupiter. Jupiter is a planet of permanence, where storms can rage for centuries, marking the face of the god of thunder like a scar. Neptune is the god of the sea, and like the sea, Neptune is fluid. Neptune is changeable. Neptune is a world of impermanence. When Voyager 2 left the system, heading out into the dark, we thought the Great Dark Spot would be there forever. We thought it was a permanent feature. We imagined it turning silently in the dark for thousands of years. But the universe is full of surprises, and it teaches us that nothing stays the same. Years later, when the Hubble Space Telescope was pointed at Neptune in 1999, astronomers looked for the famous spot. They scanned the southern latitudes. They searched the blue face of the giant, but the storms had completely disappeared. The Great Dark Spot was gone. It had vanished. It had dissolved back into the blue, leaving no trace behind. There is a profound beauty in this disappearance. It tells us that even the largest things, storms the size of Earth, are not solid. They are just patterns. They are just temporary arrangements of wind and cloud, They come together, they dance for a while, and then they unravel. They return to the source. And just as the old storm faded, other storms have come and gone ever since. The planet breathes them into existence. A vortex forms. It spins. It travels across the latitudes. The latest one was seen in 2015. It has lasted a few years, a lonely traveler in the northern hemisphere, but it too is disappearing. It is fading like a dream upon waking. While there is not enough data to speculate exactly how these vortices develop, it could be that Neptune is like Jupiter with bands in the atmosphere. Imagine the planet wrapped in invisible ribbons of wind. While they won't be as defined, or as many as there are on Jupiter, the bands on Neptune would travel at different speeds. This difference in speed, this shearing of the air, creates the magic. This could cause vortices to appear where the bands meet. Think of two currents of water merging in a quiet stream. Where they touch, they curl. They create little eddies, little spirals that spin and drift downstream. On Neptune, these eddies grow to the size of continents. Once the storm has gotten going, it can drift around the planet, even moving between the bands. It becomes a wanderer. It is untethered. It floats freely through the strange cold day and the long dark night. But once it leaves its power source, it begins to slowly diminish, which is what we have seen. It loses its energy. It slows down. It softens. This cycle of birth and fading is the heartbeat of Neptune. One NASA analyst, Ken Bollinger, commented on the findings in 1989, capturing this sense of wonder. He said, "Every day, what you see is brand new. Nobody's ever seen it. It's just an incredible feeling." There are changes going on constantly on Neptune that happen very, very fast. And yet from our vantage point, drifting in the silence of space, these fast changes look like the slow unfolding of a flower. We see the great dark spot, not as a chaotic event, but as a deep indigo eye that eventually closes. We see the small dark spot, another storm Voyager saw south of its big sibling, changing in shade from dark to light. It is a canvas that paints itself over and over again. Interestingly, Hubble is the only program that can monitor these weather changes. For most of our history, these storms spun unseen. In most light wavelengths, they are very hard to spot. They hide in the blue. They camouflage themselves against the background. Hubble, though, can probe Neptune and Uranus in the ultraviolet, making these observations possible. It allows us to see the invisible dance. But why does this happen? Why does Neptune have such a blustery, changing atmosphere? We look to its neighbor, Uranus, for an answer. But Uranus, which is very similar in composition and size to Neptune, does not have such storms. Uranus is calm. Uranus is almost featureless. Don't get me wrong, wind speeds on Uranus are fast too, but it doesn't compete with Neptune at only 900 kilometers per hour. Something else must be at play here to explain the extremes in weather. Something deep inside the planet is driving this beautiful, restless motion. Can all this only be due to interactions with the sun and its seasons? The sun is so far away. Its heat is so faint. It seems unlikely that the sun alone could stir up such majestic storms. The answer may lie deep beneath Neptune's surface. And so, we must look inward. We must look past the clouds, past the storms that drift and dissolve like smoke. We must look into the heart of the planet itself. As we watch the last remnants of a storm fade into the twilight, we feel a sense of peace. Things come and things go. Storms rise and storms settle. Nothing needs to be held on to tightly. The universe is a flowing river, and we are just floating on its surface. The clouds are thinning now. The winds are carrying us gently downward, away from the wandering storms, toward the mysterious interior where the true secrets of the blue giant are kept. The air is getting denser. The blue is getting darker. We are descending into the depths. And as we descend, we remember that we have nothing to do but rest. The storms have passed. The sky is clearing. The silence is returning. We have drifted through the silent vacuum of space. We have floated on the rivers of supersonic wind. We have watched the great storms turn their dark eyes toward the stars and then fade away like ghosts. But now the time has come to go deeper. The time has come to leave the surface behind and sink into the mysterious, hidden interior of the blue giant. To understand what lies beneath, we must first ponder a riddle of temperature. I mentioned earlier that Neptune is the furthest planet from the Sun. It orbits at the very edge of the solar system, where the Sun is just a bright spark in the cold distance. So, logic would suggest that it should also be the coldest planet. You would think that, sitting out there in the freezing dark, it would be a world of absolute, unmoving frost. But the universe often whispers a different story than the one we expect. Actually, Uranus, the planet closer to us, is the coldest planet in our solar system. It is a world that has grown cold and still. But Neptune is different. Neptune holds a secret warmth. Neptune radiates heat from within. Imagine a hearth that has been burning for billions of years. While Uranus radiates hardly any excess heat at all, Neptune is glowing with an internal energy. It releases more energy into space than it receives from the distant sun. It is like a traveler in the winter who carries a lantern under their cloak. The outside may be cold, but inside there is a fire that refuses to go out. Why is there this difference? Astronomers believe the story goes back to the very beginning of time. It is thought that a large Earth-sized body may have crashed into Uranus billions of years ago. This massive, ancient impact might have shaken the planet to its core and depleted all of its primordial heat, leaving it to cool down in the silence. But Neptune was spared this fate. Neptune kept its original warmth. It held on to the heat of its formation, wrapping it tight within its layers of gas and ice. It is this hidden heat that drives the winds we drifted upon. It is this heat that stirs the atmosphere and creates the storms. The active weather on Neptune is due in part to this higher internal heat. It is the heartbeat of the planet, pumping energy outward, keeping the world dynamic and alive even in the freezing depths of space. Now, let us follow that heat to its source. Let us sink through the blue clouds. As we descend, the light begins to fade. The pale sun disappears. The stars are swallowed by the mist. We are entering the realm of eternal night. But do not be afraid of the dark. It is a warm dark. It is a thick, protective dark. We pass through the upper atmosphere and enter the mantle. The internal structure of Neptune is thought to be very similar to Uranus. But what is it made of? We call Neptune an ice giant. But the word ice here is a poetic simplification. It is not the ice of a frozen pond. It is a hot, dense, fluid mixture. There is a liquid mantle of water, ammonia, and methane ices surrounding the core. Imagine a vast, shoreless ocean. It is an ocean not of water as we know it, but of superheated fluids, swirling and flowing under immense pressure. It is a global sea that has no surface and no bottom. It simply becomes thicker and hotter the deeper you go. As we sink deeper into this mantle, the pressure begins to build. But think of this pressure not as a weight that crushes, but as a blanket that hugs. It is the gravity of the planet pulling everything toward the center, holding the world together in a tight, stable embrace. And in this deep, high-pressure darkness, something magical happens. Something that sounds like it belongs in a fairy tale, yet is predicted by the laws of physics. Where the core and the mantle meet, the pressure is so great that the methane molecules begin to break apart. Methane is made of carbon and hydrogen. Under this immense squeezing hug of gravity, the hydrogen is pushed away, and the carbon atoms are forced together. They find each other in the dark. They bond, they crystallize, diamonds are formed under the pressure. Visualize this moment. In the absolute blackness of the deep mantle, tiny sparks of crystal begin to form. They are not rough stones. They are perfect lattice structures of carbon. They are diamonds. And because they are heavier than the fluid around them, they begin to fall. Likely these are not small diamonds as you or I know them. There could be a liquid carbon ocean with solid diamond bergs floating in it. Imagine an iceberg, but made of glittering diamond, bobbing gently in a sea of liquid carbon. It is a scene of unimaginable opulence, hidden forever from human eyes. And there is rain. Diamonds raining down through the mantle like hailstones. But let us slow down the image. Let us not see them as hailstones that strike the ground. Let us see them as snow. Let us see them as a slow, glittering drift of jewels falling silently through the thick, hot fluid. They fall for kilometers. They fall for years. They settle slowly toward the center of the world, a slow-motion cascade of treasures that no one will ever gather. This is just a theory, of course, as technology has only recently started to recreate such pressures in our labs on Earth. But the math suggests it is true. The logic of the universe suggests that in the hearts of these giant planets, the ordinary becomes extraordinary. The common carbon of life becomes the diamond of eternity. The pressure here is staggering. Around the core of Neptune, it is thought to be 7 million bars, or 700 gigapascals. That is about 7 million times the pressure of Earth's atmosphere at the surface. 7 million times the weight of the air you are breathing now. It is a number that commands respect. It is a force that holds the planet in shape, a force that creates the diamonds, a force that acts as the anvil of creation. And finally, beneath the diamond rain, beneath the liquid mantle, we reach the core itself. It is likely a rocky and metallic center, similar in size to our Earth, but buried under thousands of kilometers of fluid and gas. It is the anchor. It is the solid foundation upon which the entire spinning, storming, raining world is built. Here, in the center, there is stillness. The winds of the surface do not reach here. The storms do not rage here. There is only the immense heat, the immense pressure, and the immense stability of the core. It is the heart of the giant, beating slowly, radiating its warmth outward to the surface, telling the universe that it is still here, that it is still warm, that it is still alive. We have traveled from the cold vacuum of space to the diamond-filled depths of the interior. We have seen that Neptune is not just a ball of gas. It is a layered masterpiece. It is a factory of crystals. It is a guardian of heat in the cold dark. Let yourself rest in this image for a moment. Imagine you are safely suspended in that liquid mantle, watching the diamonds fall past you like slow shooting stars. They catch the faint glow of the heat from below, sparkling in the deep purple gloom. There is no sound. There is no hurry. There is only the slow, rhythmic descent of the jewels. The planet is holding you. The gravity is cradling you. The warmth surrounds you. You are safe in the hidden heart of the world. And as we prepare to ascend, to float back up through the layers, we carry this secret knowledge with us. We know that beneath the blue clouds, beneath the supersonic winds, there is a treasure. There is a hidden beauty that exists simply for the sake of existing. It does not need to be seen to be beautiful. It just is. We rise slowly now. Up past the diamondbergs, up through the liquid ocean, up through the slush of icy mist. We break the surface of the clouds and find ourselves back in the open sky. The stars are there, waiting for us. The silence of space welcomes us back. But we look at the planet differently now. We know what lies within. We drift away from the atmosphere, back to a safe distance, where we can see the whole disk of Neptune again. It looks calm, it looks serene. But now we can feel the warmth radiating from it, a gentle touch against the cold of the void. We are ready to look at the invisible forces that surround this world. We are ready to see the unseen dance of the magnetic fields. The journey continues. We have explored the visible wonders of Neptune. We have seen the blue clouds, the dark storms, and the hidden rain of diamonds. But a planet is more than just what the eye can see. Around this silent giant, extending far out into the vacuum of space, there is an invisible presence. It is a force field, a protective shell, a ghost that wraps the world in its embrace. Every planet in the solar system, or at least the ones that are still active and alive inside, possesses some form of this magnetic aura. It is the planet's way of speaking to the sun, a shield that deflects the solar wind and guides the charged particles that drift through the cosmos. But on Neptune, this invisible field is doing something truly unique. It is performing a strange and elegant dance that defies our expectations. The two ice giants, Uranus and Neptune, share many similarities, and their magnetospheres are one of them. When we look at Earth, or Jupiter, or Saturn, their magnetic fields are relatively orderly. They line up nicely with the planet's rotation. The North Magnetic Pole is roughly where the geographic North Pole is. It is a system of alignment, of symmetry, of predictability. But Neptune is a world that prefers the angle of mystery. Neptune's magnetic field is offset 47 degrees relative to its rotational axis. Imagine a spinning top that turns perfectly upright, but the invisible force surrounding it is tilted over, leaning heavily to the side. It is a field that does not match the body it protects. It is a lopsided embrace. It is a magnetic axis that wanders far from the center, creating a sensation of beautiful, rhythmic imbalance. When the Voyager 2 spacecraft first discovered this phenomenon around Uranus, the first theory was that it had something to do with that planet's unusual axial tilt. Astronomers thought that perhaps, because Uranus spins on its side, its magnetic field was dragged along with it. It seemed like a plausible explanation, a singular quirk for a singular planet. But then, Voyager 2 arrived at Neptune. It found the same thing out about Neptune, even though Neptune has a more normal axial tilt. Neptune spins upright, much like Earth or Mars. And yet its magnetic field is just as wild, just as tilted, just as independent as its siblings. This discovery changed everything. It told us that the tilt was not an accident of rotation, but a fundamental characteristic of these ice giants. So, the question arose in the quiet observatories of Earth: where does this field come from? On Earth, our magnetic field is generated deep in the core, by the churning of molten iron. But on Neptune, the current theory is that the magnetic field is either not generated in the core, but rather by an electrically conducting liquid mantle. Remember that vast hot ocean of water, ammonia, and methane we drifted through in the last chapter? That fluid is not just sitting still. It is moving. It is convecting. It is turning over and over in the dark. And because it is rich in ions, rich in charged particles, its movement generates a massive electrical current. It is a dynamo of water and ice. Or perhaps the mantle deflects the magnetic field from the core, which gives it this weird offset in relation to its rotational axis. Whatever the cause, the result is a magnetic field that is dynamic and ever-changing. As the planet rotates, the magnetic field tumbles and turns, sweeping through space like the beam of a lighthouse that has slipped off its bearings. It creates a complex, shifting environment around the planet, a constantly changing song of magnetic resonance. Even Earth's magnetic north is different from where the North Pole actually is. We know that our compasses do not point to the true top of the world, but the difference here is slight. On Neptune, the difference is vast. It is only Uranus and Neptune that have such a tilted magnetosphere. They are the eccentric dancers of the solar system, moving to their own rhythm, ignoring the conventions of alignment that bind the other worlds. And where there is a magnetic field, there is often light. We call them auroras. On Earth, we know them as the northern and southern lights, great curtains of green and purple that ripple across the polar skies. They are the result of the sun's particles crashing into our atmosphere, guided by the magnetic lines. Auroras do exist on Neptune too, but they are different from what you might expect. They are not the bright, vivid displays we see at home. They are extremely faint due to particles not getting as charged from the sun. The sun is so far away, its wind so weak by the time it reaches Neptune, that the energy required to light up the sky is scarce. The lights here are subtle. They are ghostly. They are whispers of luminescence in the dark. And because of the direction of the magnetosphere, they are mainly type B aurora or SAR arcs. These are not chaotic splashes of color. They are stable, red glowing arcs, slow and steady in their burning. Earth gets these too, but they are not visible to the naked eye, and you need scientific instruments to know that they are there. They are a secret light, hidden from sight, known only to those who know how to look. They could be stretching across the whole sky without you actually knowing about it. Imagine floating in the clouds of Neptune, looking up at the black vault of space. You might think it is empty. But if you had the right eyes, if you could see in the infrared or the ultraviolet, you would see that the sky is painted with wide, shimmering ribbons. Another difference with the SAR arcs of Neptune is that they are not only found around the poles, but rather are around the mid-latitudes of the planet. Because the magnetic field is so tilted, the north pole of the magnet might be pointing out of the equator. This means the auroras can appear anywhere. They wrap around the belly of the planet. They drift across the temperate zones, The entire world is a canvas for this faint, elusive art. However, although they are faint, we recently were able to capture images of them thanks to the powerful near-infrared detection of the James Webb Space Telescope. This new eye in the sky, floating far from Earth, turned its gold-plated mirrors toward the edge of the solar system. It peered through the darkness. It gathered the heat and the light that had traveled for hours to reach it. In March of 2025, Webb released these shimmering images of Neptune's mid-latitude aurora shining out across the planet. In these images, the planet looks like a glowing pearl, wrapped in faint bands of energy. It was a confirmation that the dance continues, even when no one is watching. The lights are there. The energy is flowing. The magnetic field is humming its low, silent note. Interestingly, at the same time, Webb was able to notice a massive temperature drop in Neptune's upper atmosphere. The planet is breathing out. Its temperature had dropped by hundreds of degrees since Voyager's reading in 1987. It is almost halving during those intervening few decades. Why is the planet cooling? Why is the atmosphere settling into a deeper chill? What this means for the turbulent processes taking place within Neptune remains open for investigation. It is another mystery. It is another reminder that we do not know everything. And there is comfort in that. There is comfort in knowing that the universe still has secrets, that it is not a solved puzzle, but an ongoing story. But as they are harder to detect in colder temperatures, this may help explain why Neptune's auroras remain so elusive. The cold hides the light. The darkness wraps around the glow. It is a shy phenomenon, retreating into the shadows as the planet cools. So we are left with a picture of a world that is protected by a tilted, wandering shield. We see a planet where the magnetic poles are not at the top and bottom, but floating somewhere in the middle, constantly moving, constantly turning. We see a mantle of hot fluid generating a field that reaches out to touch the emptiness. And we see faint red ribbons of light that encircle the world like a halo, visible only to those who wait and watch and listen to the silence. Let us imagine ourselves drifting along these magnetic lines. They are like highways in the void, invisible currents that guide the smallest particles on their long journeys. We follow the curve of the field, arching high above the planet, looking down at the blue sphere suspended in the black. We are weightless. We are guided. We are safe within the magnetosphere. The dance of the field is slow. It takes hours for the planet to rotate, and the field rotates with it, sweeping its protective arm through the galaxy. It is a rhythmic motion, a celestial lullaby that rocks the particles to sleep. As we drift further out, moving along the magnetic tail that trails behind the planet away from the sun, we look back. Neptune is a silhouette now. The auroras are just faint glimmers on its dark side. The mystery of the tilted field fades into the background, becoming just another part of the deep, complex harmony of the outer solar system. We are ready to move on. We are ready to look at what else orbits this giant. We are ready to see the dusty jewelry that encircles the planet's waist. The rings are waiting. The dust is waiting. The silence continues to deepen. We have listened to the magnetic song of the planet. We have felt the deep pulse of its internal heat. Now we gently pull back. We zoom out from the atmosphere, retreating slowly until the great blue curve of Neptune fills our view, suspended against the endless black backdrop. And here, in this quiet space between the planet and the moons, we find something delicate. We find the jewelry of the giant. Up until the year 1986, the existence of these rings was a whispered rumor. Scientists suspected the planet might have rings, but they couldn't be certain. The distance was too great, and the rings were too shy. They hid in the glare of the planet, invisible to the eyes of the Earth. It turns out that, like all other gas giants, Neptune does have a ring system. But it is not a system that shouts for attention. It does not blaze with the icy brilliance of Saturn's crown. It is a system of shadows. The rings are very faint. They are not as dense as their famous cousins, and they are extremely dark in color. Imagine a ring made not of diamonds, but of charcoal. Imagine dust that has been darkened by the aeons, coated in organic compounds that absorb the light rather than reflect it. If you have these dark rings against a black backdrop of space, and also have them be this far away from the sun, then they are very hard to see. They are like black silk on a black table. They are there, but they require a quiet eye to perceive them. As we drift closer, floating into the equatorial plane, they begin to reveal themselves. They appear as thin, ghostly lines drawn in the vacuum. There are 5 known rings in all. And in a fitting tribute to the history we spoke of earlier, they are all named after the people involved in the discovery and research of Neptune. The history of the planet is written in the dust that circles it. Let us drift through them, starting from the inside and moving out, like a slow tide washing away from the shore. The innermost ring is called the Galley Ring. It is named after Johann Galle, the man who first laid eyes on the planet through his telescope in Berlin. This ring is a wide, gentle band. It is very faint and very wide, stretching across 2,000 kilometers of space. But despite its width, it is elusive. It is a diffuse sheet of dust, a mist of particles that have spread out to comfort one another. It orbits relatively close to the cloud tops, a silent halo that watches over the storms below. Moving outward, we cross a gap of emptiness, a silence between the notes, until we reach the next structure. This is the Leverrier ring, named after the mathematician who found the planet with his mind. This ring is different. It is sharp. It is defined. Although it is bright, it is only 113 kilometers wide. It is a narrow ribbon, a tight thread that has been pulled taut around the planet. It hums with a higher frequency of concentration. It is a line of order in the chaos of space. Drifting further still, we come to a broad, expansive region known as the Lassell Ring. It is named after William Lassell, the astronomer who discovered Neptune's largest moon just days after the planet itself was found. This ring is a very faint band, 4,000 kilometers across. It is the widest of them all, a vast flat plain of microscopic dust. It feels like a plateau, a quiet expanse where the particles wander freely. It is connected to the Leverrier ring, bridging the gap with a subtle sheet of material. On the outer edge of this wide plateau lies a delicate feature called the Arago ring. It is slightly brighter than the Lassell ring and is less than 100 kilometers wide. It acts as a border, a rim that marks the end of the inner system. It is a final, faint ripple before the deep gap, and then we travel further out to the boundary of the ring system. Here lies the most fascinating and most researched structure of them all. It is the Adams ring. Named after John Couch Adams, the British mathematician who also predicted Neptune's position, this ring holds a mystery that has puzzled astronomers for decades. The Adams ring is narrow, only 35 kilometers wide. It is a tight, disciplined circle, but It is one of the brightest rings, and it is particularly interesting because it is slightly inclined and has bright arcs within it. Let us pause here and observe these arcs. Usually, planetary rings are uniform throughout. They are smooth circles, like a continuous road that wraps around the world. But the Adam's ring is different. Intriguingly, Voyager 2 identified several partial ring structures, or ring arcs, within this system. Imagine a ring that is not a complete circle of brightness, but has segments that glow brighter than the rest. These arcs are material clumping and clustering up within the ring. They are like families of dust particles, huddling together for warmth in the cold darkness. They travel together. They stay close. These arcs have been quite stable since they were discovered in 1980. The particles within them should, by all laws of motion, spread out over time. They should drift apart and make the ring uniform. But they do not. They stay clumped. They resist the urge to separate. The reason for this is currently unknown. Some say it is the gravity of a nearby moon, a shepherd moon, that herds them together. Others say it is a resonance, a gravitational song that keeps them in step. But here, in the quiet of our journey, we can simply appreciate the mystery. We can appreciate the fact that even dust has a preference for company. These arcs raised questions about the mechanisms responsible for their formation. But tonight, we do not need the answers. We only need the image. See the arcs glowing faintly in the starlight. They are curved segments of light, suspended in the black. They look like broken pieces of a halo, or perhaps a halo that is still forming, still learning how to be complete. They move together, a slow procession of pilgrims on an eternal journey around the blue giant. The composition of these rings adds to their sleepy nature. They are dusty. They consist of incomplete and dusty rings. This is not the jagged rock of an asteroid field. This is fine, soft dust. It is the kind of dust that settles in an old abandoned library. It is the kind of dust that dances in a sunbeam. But here, there is no sunbeam, only the dim grey light of the distant star. The particles are likely ice-coated in dark silicates or carbon-based materials. They are ancient. They have been circling here for millions of years. They have seen the birth of moons. They have seen the passing of comets. And they continue to circle, silent and obedient to the gravity that holds them. There is a rhythm to their movement. Every particle has its own path, its own lane in this cosmic highway, and yet they move as one. From a distance, they look solid. They look like sheets of grey glass, but up close, they are a swarm of tiny, individual worlds, each one floating in its own private orbit. As we drift above the ring plane, we can look down through the rings and see the planet below. The blue atmosphere of Neptune shines through the gaps in the dust. The rings act as a filter, a veil that softens the view. It is a scene of layering, the deep blue of the planet, the grey transparency of the rings, and the absolute black of space above. It is a place of stillness. There is no wind here to blow the dust away. There is no sound to disturb the peace. There is only the slow, silent turning of the wheel. The rings ebb and flow like a tide that never reaches the shore. And within this system there are small moons, tiny guardians that orbit among the rings. We mentioned that the inner regular moons orbit around the rings, some acting as shepherd moons. These small, rocky bodies are the caretakers of the dust. Their gravity gently nudges the particles, keeping the rings narrow, keeping the edges sharp. They are the silent conductors of this dusty orchestra. We float past the Galilei ring, past the Leverrier, past the atoms. We leave the rings behind us now. They recede into the distance, becoming thin lines once more, and then fading into invisibility. We have passed through the veil. We are moving further out into the domain of the moons. The rings of Neptune are a reminder that beauty does not have to be bright. It does not have to be loud. Sometimes the most beautiful things are the ones that are barely there. Sometimes the most beautiful things are the ones that hide in the shadows, waiting for us to slow down enough to see them. And as we drift away, the particles continue their dance, clumping, spreading, orbiting, waiting. They are the dusty memory of the solar system, circling forever in the dark. We have drifted past the clouds. We have drifted past the rings. And now, in the deepest silence of the outer system, we meet the companions of the giant. A visit to Neptune wouldn't be complete without talking about its moons. They are the silent children of the system, circling their parent in a display of gravity's enduring patience. Neptune has 14 known moons which are named after water deities in Greek mythology. This is fitting, for they orbit a planet the color of the deep sea. They are the nymphs and the gods of the waters, swimming forever in the vacuum of space. As we move outward from the planet, we first encounter the inner moons. In the language of astronomy, regular has a soothing, orderly meaning. It means they follow the rules. They orbit along Neptune's ecliptic, with very circular orbits. They move in the same direction as the planet spins. They are like a choir singing in perfect harmony, a row of obedient dancers moving in step with the music of the spheres. They formed from the same ancient disk of dust that created Neptune itself. They belong here. They have always been here. But as we drift further out, past the orderly inner sanctum, the harmony changes. We encounter a stranger. We encounter a rebel. We get to the irregular moons, the first of which is Triton. Triton. The name itself sounds ancient and strong. And as we approach it, floating through the darkness, we see that it is a world of breathtaking beauty. I personally think it is one of the prettiest moons in our solar system. It is not merely a grey rock like so many others. It has amazing patterns and this burnt orange color. Imagine a sphere of ice, polished by the ages, glowing with a soft, rusted hue against the absolute black of space. It looks like a frozen sunset. It looks like a peach suspended in ink. This color tells a story of chemistry and time, a story we will explore later. But for now, let us simply admire the shape and the shade of this lonely world. Triton is classified as an irregular moon, but do not let the word irregular disturb your peace. In the cosmos, irregularity is just another form of beauty. An irregular moon is a moon that follows an inclined, eccentric, and often retrograde orbit. And this is where Triton sets itself apart. This, by itself, is already where Triton is set apart from any other spherical moon in the solar system. It moves in a way that defies expectation. It moves backwards. Neptune rotates counterclockwise. The planet spins on its axis, turning endlessly to the left. The inner moons orbit counterclockwise, following the spin. But Triton orbits clockwise around Neptune. It walks against the crowd, It swims upstream. Visualize this celestial waltz. The massive blue giant turns one way, and the small orange moon circles the other way. It is a slow, silent loop of opposition. Triton orbits at a 130-degree angle to the ecliptic of the planet. It is a path that is steep and strange. And yet, despite this backward motion, there is a smoothness to it. Although it should be noted that its orbital eccentricity is close to zero. Its orbit is almost perfectly circular. It does not wobble. It does not stray. It traces a perfect round circle in the wrong direction over and over again, with the precision of a clock. This backward motion is a clue. It is a whisper from the past. All other large moons in the solar system are regular moons orbiting the same direction as the rotation of their parent planet. Jupiter's moons, Saturn's moons, Uranus's moons, they all follow the lead of their parents, but not Triton. What this heavily implies is that Triton did not form alongside Neptune. It was not born from the same cloud. It is not a sibling of the inner moons. It is, in fact, a captured object, specifically a captured dwarf planet. Triton is a traveler. It is a guest that came from the deep, dark outer reaches and decided to stay. It is an adopted child of the blue giant, and it is a massive adoption. No wonder, then, that it is by far the biggest of Neptune's 14 moons. It is not just a rock. It is a world unto itself. It comprises 90 to 100% of the mass found in Neptune's orbit. Think about that dominance. If you took all the other moons of Neptune, all the rings, all the dust, and put them on a scale, they would be nothing compared to Triton. Triton is the weight. Triton is the presence. It is the solitary queen of the Neptunian system. But how big is that in scales we can relate to? To understand its grandeur, we look to our own night sky. It is the second largest moon in relation to its parent planet, second only to Earth and its moon. It is a significant companion. While it is smaller than our moon, it orbits closer to Neptune than our moon orbits Earth. Imagine standing on the cloud tops of Neptune if you could stand on clouds. Triton would appear about the same size in the sky as our moon does to us. A great glowing orange disk watching over the blue world below. It is the seventh largest moon in the entire solar system, but its true significance lies in its origin. Most interestingly, it is bigger than Pluto. Pluto. The name evokes a sense of cold distance and mystery. Pluto is often considered the king of the Kuiper Belt. We think of Pluto as the ruler of that vast icy ring of debris beyond Neptune. It is the biggest object that we know of that formed there, or so we thought, until we consider that Triton once ruled that area before Neptune captured it. Triton is a lost king. It is a monarch in exile. So, although Triton is a moon of Neptune, it could be said that it is the biggest and most massive Kuiper Belt object. It is a piece of the deep frontier that has been brought closer to the light. Further evidence for this family connection was found as the New Horizons spacecraft passed Pluto in 2015. When we saw Pluto up close, we realized something remarkable. The data suggested Triton and Pluto share a near identical composition. They are made of the same ices. They wear the same colors. They have the same nitrogen frost on their skins. This supports the theory that they share a common origin. They are long-lost brothers, separated by the vastness of space and the pull of gravity. Beyond Triton, there are other moons. Beyond Triton are 6 other irregular moons found much further out. They are tiny, distant sparks in the dark. They are almost certainly captured objects too. They possess unusually eccentric orbits that take years to complete. They loop and dive and wander in the outer fringes of Neptune's gravity. And why are they there? Why are their paths so strange? They were probably perturbed into these weird orbits by the gravity of Triton. When Triton arrived, when this massive dwarf planet entered the system, it changed everything. Its gravity was like a wave crashing into a calm pool. It scattered the smaller moons. It reorganized the heavens. It cleared a space for itself. So if Triton was a captured object, how did that happen? How does a planet catch a moon? In the frictionless vacuum of space, objects usually fly past each other. Objects need to lose momentum to be captured. If they come in too fast, they will just swing by and escape back into the night. They need to slow down. They need to hit the brakes. But there are no brakes in space. Well, we can't know for sure, but the leading theory right now is a story of separation and sacrifice. The leading theory is that Triton was once part of a binary system, perhaps like Pluto and Charon. Imagine this scene from billions of years ago. Triton was not alone. It was drifting through the Kuiper Belt with a partner, another moon, another world, holding hands with it in the dark. They danced around each other, a binary pair, moving together through the void. They were balanced, but then their path took them too close to the blue giant. They drifted toward Neptune. As Neptune approached Triton and its moon, the gravity from the encounter would have caused the binary system to fall apart. The gravity of the giant reached out. It was a gentle but irresistible hand. It pulled at the pair. It disrupted their dance. In the chaos of that encounter, energy had to be exchanged. One object had to speed up, and the other had to slow down. Triton's moon was the one that was let go. It was slingshotted away. It was flung out into the darkness, sacrificing itself, carrying away the excess energy. It vanished into the interstellar night, never to be seen again. And Triton? Triton lost enough momentum to be captured in orbit around Neptune. It slowed down just enough. It fell into the gravitational well of the giant. It was caught. The door closed behind it. The wandering was over. It settled into its strange, backward orbit, a permanent reminder of the direction it had come from. It is a wrong-way orbit, because it entered the system from the wrong angle, and there was nothing to correct it. It is a frozen memory of that ancient encounter. Now, Triton circles Neptune in peace. The violence of that capture is long gone. The partner is long gone. There is only the slow, rhythmic circle, clockwise in a counterclockwise world. It is a lonely image, perhaps. A moon that lost its partner and found a new master. But in our sleepy view of the universe, we can see it differently. We can see it as a traveler finding a home. We can see it as a union. The blue giant was lonely in the dark, and so it reached out and caught a companion. And now, they keep each other company at the edge of the solar system. As we look at Triton, glowing orange against the blue, we are looking at a survivor. We are looking at a world that has traveled further than we can imagine. and it is tired. It is resting now. It is held safely in the arms of Neptune's gravity, drifting round and round, watching the distant sun with a face of ice. We are ready to land on this captured world. We are ready to touch the surface of the Wanderer. We are ready to see what landscapes lie beneath that burnt orange haze. The journey continues down to the nitrogen ice. We have watched Triton from afar, admiring its burnt orange glow and its backward waltz around the giant. But now, let us drift closer. Let us descend. Let us imagine that we can float down through the thin, hazy atmosphere and touch our feet, lightly, ever so lightly, upon the surface of this captured world. We are landing on a floor of frozen air. Triton has a predominantly nitrogen ice surface, with other ices mixed in, like water and carbon dioxide. It is a landscape of crystal. It is a crust made of the very stuff that makes up the sky on Earth. But here, in the profound cold, it has turned solid. It is hard, brittle, and glistening in the dim starlight. As we look around, the first thing we notice is the flatness. It has quite a flat terrain. There are no towering mountains to block the view. There are no deep canyons to hide the horizon. Its topography never varies by more than a kilometer. It is a world of leveling. It is a calm sea of ice that stretches out in every direction, smooth and unbroken, inviting the eye to wander forever. Although it is flat, it is not empty. Voyager 2 did see ridges and troughs, plateaus and ice plains. The surface is textured. Imagine the skin of a melon or the wrinkles on a frozen pond. There are patterns etched into the ice, intricate labyrinths of ridges that weave back and forth. Long lines permeate over the surface. These are likely faults caused either by tectonic activity or freeze-thaw weathering processes. They are the stretch marks of the moon, the signs that the surface is shifting, settling, and adjusting in its sleep. What you may find unusual, though, as we wander across these ice plains, is what is missing. It has very little in the way of craters. In the rest of the solar system, moons are usually scarred by billions of years of impacts. They bear the history of every rock that has ever hit them, but Triton is smooth. Triton is unblemished. This implies its surface is very young and is constantly being renewed. Triton knows how to heal itself. It does not hold on to its wounds. It wipes the slate clean, over and over again. And the mechanism of this healing is one of the most mesmerizing wonders of the outer solar system. It is a process called cryovolcanism. Volcanoes on Earth are mountains of fire and molten rock. They are angry, explosive, and hot. But here, in the cryo world, the cold world, volcanoes are gentle fountains of water and slush. Cryovolcanism is an active process today on Triton. It is happening right now, in the silence. Under Triton's crust is thought to be a rocky and metallic interior. Deep down, buried beneath the ice, there is a heart of stone. The radioactive decay from this rocky core could be enough to heat and power convection in a subsurface ocean of water. Imagine a secret ocean, hidden in the dark, kept warm by the slow pulse of the core. It is like the oceans thought to be under the surfaces of Europa and Enceladus. And sometimes, this ocean needs to breathe. The liquid water in the mantle erupts onto the surface like lava on Earth. But it is not a violent eruption. It is a slow upwelling. The water mixed with ammonia to keep it liquid, pushes up through the cracks in the nitrogen crust. It spills out onto the plains. And because the surface is so cold, the water freezes almost instantly. It paves over the old craters. It fills in the cracks. It creates new, smooth plains of fresh ice. This is the main reason why the surface is so young. It is being actively renewed by liquid water erupting and then freezing on Triton's surface. It is a continuous cycle of resurfacing, a glacial facial that keeps the moon looking eternally youthful. We can see the remnants of these events. Some very young lava plains have been identified. We see sparse and flat regions, interestingly with a wall that surrounds the plain. This is called a planitia, or in other words, a solidified lava lake. Imagine a lake of water that welled up, spread out until it hit a natural barrier, and then froze solid, creating a perfect glassy dance floor in the middle of the rougher terrain. We also can see calderas, which are the collapses found at the center of a cryovolcano where lava plains formed from. They are like the empty cups left behind after the water has poured out, silent, frozen depressions that mark the source of the renewal. It is thought that the water from these eruptions would have also brought minerals from the underground oceans onto the surface. The ocean inside is bringing gifts to the surface, perhaps even being the source of the tholins and organic matter I mentioned earlier. Ah, the tholins. This is the source of that beautiful color. Like Pluto, Triton has some reddish patches. This is thought to be methane having reacted to UV light from the sun, producing what is known as tholins. It is an organic compound that has a supposedly tar-like consistency. It dusts the ice with a layer of rust and pink. It paints the white landscape with blushing hues. While organic compounds do not mean life is present there, they are the basic chemicals from which life forms. If organic compounds are found in the subsurface ocean, it means that there's a possibility that conditions are right for life to have been able to form there. It is a comforting thought, isn't it? That even here, so far from the sun, the ingredients for life are resting in a warm, dark ocean, waiting for their chance. But there is another kind of eruption on Triton, one that is even more delicate. If we look at some more of the Voyager 2 images, we can see the results of some recent eruptions. You'll notice what looks to be dark deposits on the surface, in cone or funnel-like shapes. These are the trails of geysers. But these are not geysers driven by the internal heat of the core. These are solar geysers. They are powered by the faintest touch of the sun. These smaller eruptions may not originate from the mantle itself. Instead, they are thought to be because of a solid greenhouse effect within the moon's icy crust. Visualize this delicate mechanism. Imagine the surface of Triton consisting of a clear ice which has settled on dark deposits, like tholins. It is like a glass window placed over a dark sheet of paper. The sun shines through the ice. Its weak rays penetrate the clear crystal. They touch the darker, more absorbent tholins beneath. The dark dust warms up. It absorbs the heat. It warms the ice directly in contact with it. This sublimates a pocket of ice under the surface. The solid ice turns directly into gas. A tiny bubble of nitrogen gas forms, trapped beneath the heavy lid of the crust. As the ices sublimate, the pressure builds in the air pocket. It pushes, it expands, but it waits. And finally, the surface above the pocket gives way. The lid cracks. Poof. A plume of gas and dust shoots up into the sky. It causes an eruption. Voyager 2 spotted some plumes reaching 8 kilometers high. In the low gravity of Triton, the dust rises slowly, lazily, climbing higher and higher into the thin air. It is a slow-motion fountain of black dust against a pink sky. This eruption also takes the dark deposits with it. It pulls the dust from the ground and scatters it. The wind catches it, spreading them out over the surface again. And here is the most peaceful detail of all. Going back to the image of the plumes, you can see the deposits from the eruptions all end up facing the same direction. The wind, the gentle prevailing wind of the moon, combs the dust into long parallel lines, up to 150 kilometers long. They look like brushstrokes on a canvas. They look like shadows cast by invisible trees. This process can only exist because of one thing. Triton has an atmosphere. It is a thin, gossamer veil. Triton's atmosphere is thin, only 0.014 millibars. It is about the equivalent of 80 kilometers up on Earth. It is barely there, but it is enough. It is enough to support weather up to 8 kilometers above its surface. In the images, you can actually see clouds on Triton, wispy white clouds of nitrogen crystals drifting over the reddish plains. Like Pluto, Triton's atmosphere is hazy, the cause of which is thought to be hydrocarbons in the atmosphere. The haze softens the light. It blurs the stars. It wraps the moon in a layer of dreamlike fog. Since Voyager 2's observations, Triton's atmosphere has become denser, as the surface has warmed slightly during its long summer, evaporating a little of the nitrogen ices. The moon is breathing in. The atmosphere thickens. And then, as the seasons change, it will breathe out and the snow will fall again. The constant depositing of organic compounds, the ice evaporating and freezing again, and the weather-rich active atmosphere make Triton a very dynamic world, but dynamic in a way that feels like a slow, rhythmic slumber. The geysers puff, the dust settles, the clouds drift, the ice heals. All of these factors combined make it one exceptionally unusual moon. It is more a dwarf planet than a moon. It is a world that has kept its dignity, its complexity, and its beauty, even in captivity. We stand on the Planitia, the frozen lake. We watch the geyser in the distance, a black ribbon unfolding in the sky. The silence is absolute. The cold is absolute, but the beauty is overwhelming. We are standing on the edge of the known world, looking out into the unknown, and we feel perfectly at home. The surface of Triton is not a dead place. It is a canvas that is constantly being repainted by the sun, the wind, and the water. It is a masterpiece of the outer dark. And now, as the geyser settles and the dust returns to the ice, we prepare to leave. We lift off from the frozen plains, rising back up through the haze, back into the blackness of space. We have one last look at the system to take. We have a few final companions to acknowledge before we say goodnight. The journey continues, away from Triton, toward the final shadows. We have walked upon the frozen nitrogen fields of Triton. We have felt the geysers breathe into the thin sky, but Triton, for all its grandeur, is not the only companion circling the blue giant. Before we prepare to leave this system, before we turn our own gaze back toward the warmth of the sun, we must acknowledge the smaller spirits that inhabit this dark realm. They are the silent watchers, the forgotten siblings, the fragments of stone and ice that drift in the spaces between the rings and the great moon. The next biggest moon after Triton is a world called Proteus. If Triton is a king, then Proteus is a humble servant. It is a dark, heavily cratered object, roughly 400 kilometers across. But unlike the perfect spheres of the inner planets, Proteus is a little irregular in its shape. It is not a ball, it is a polyhedron. It looks like a rough-hewn gemstone that was never polished. Normally, we only see this kind of boxy, uneven shape on smaller objects like asteroids. Gravity usually pulls anything large into a sphere. But Proteus challenges this rule. It is actually bigger than Mimas, the spherical moon of Saturn, and yet it refuses to be round. It holds onto its edges. It keeps its ancient form. Why it is not a sphere is explained by past collisions. It tells a story of things hitting the moon, leaving massive craters which scar its surface. It is a survivor of the early, chaotic days of the solar system. It drifts through the dark like a silent monument to resilience, its face marked by the history of the void. And from this history of collision comes another, even smaller story. One of the major discoveries the Hubble Space Telescope made about Neptune was the discovery of a new moon in 2013, which has now been named Hippocamp, named after the seahorse creature of mythology. It is a tiny, delicate thing, a mere speck of light orbiting near the much larger Proteus. But what makes Hippocamp special is its origin. It could well be a fragment from Proteus itself. Imagine a massive impact billions of years ago. A rock from the dark strikes Proteus, shattering a piece of it. That piece flies off, spinning into the blackness. But instead of being lost, it settles into its own orbit. It becomes a moon of its own. Hippocamp is a ghost moon, a memory of a collision. It orbits fairly closely to its parent, Proteus, a tiny child following in the footsteps of its mother. It is a reminder that even in destruction there is creation. Even when things break apart, they find a new way to be whole. Drifting further out, far beyond the grip of Proteus and Triton, we find the outer irregular moons. These are the lonely wanderers. The outermost moons of Neptune are Psamathe and Naso. They are the furthest out satellites of any planet that we know of to date. Think of the patience required to be such a moon. They orbit so far from Neptune that they take a massive 25 years to orbit the planet only once. 25 years for a single circle. A child born on Earth would grow up, finish school, and start their adult life in the time it takes Neso to complete one lonely lap around its master. They can orbit this far out because Neptune has a very large hill sphere. The hill sphere is the invisible kingdom of gravity, where the planet's influence is stronger than the sun's. Because Neptune is already so far from the sun's gravity is weak here. It allows Neptune to hold on to these distant children, keeping them on a long, loose leash that stretches millions of kilometers into the void. And there is one last object that shares a strange relationship with Neptune. It is not quite a moon, but certainly something captured and influenced by its gravity. It has the technical name of 2020 VN40. This object is a trans-Neptunian object, a rock from the deep field. It orbits the sun, just like a planet, but it moves in a perfect rhythm with Neptune. It orbits the sun exactly once for every 10 orbits Neptune completes. It is in something known as an orbital resonance. Visualize this gravitational dance. Neptune moves, and this tiny rock moves in response. They are locked in a delicate waltz, a ratio of 10 to 1. They never touch, they never come close, but they move together across the centuries. It is a connection that spans the abyss. It showcases the far-reaching influence Neptune has on the wider solar system. Even the rocks in the dark dance to the tune of the blue giant. We have seen them all now. The rings, the storms, the diamonds, the retrograde moon, and the distant wanderers. But we cannot end this journey without paying tribute to the vessel that made it all possible. We must speak of the only visitor to ever touch this realm. In the history of humanity, only one spacecraft has ever visited Neptune. Just one. It was a machine built by human hands, launched from a warm Florida launch pad, and sent on a journey of no return. That craft was Voyager 2. It wasn't until 1989, when Voyager 2 arrived, that huge amounts of information about the planet became available. Before that, Neptune was just a blur. Voyager gave it a face. Voyager gave it a personality. The spacecraft had been traveling for 12 years to get there. It had visited Jupiter, Saturn, and Uranus. And finally, on a cool day in August 1989, it swept past Neptune. It passed only 5,000 kilometers above its North Pole, the closest of any of its flybys. Imagine the rush of that moment. After years of silence, the cameras clicked open, the sensors hummed to life. Suddenly, we could see what the planet looked like. We saw the blue. We saw the great dark spot. We saw the pink ice of Triton. And then, just as quickly as it arrived, it was gone. Voyager 2 did not stop. It could not stop. It was moving at a speed of 54,000 kilometers per hour. It swept past the planet, used Neptune's gravity to fling itself downward, and sailed off into the interstellar night. As it left, it looked back. It snapped a series of parting shots. It saw the crescent of Neptune and the crescent of Triton, fading into the darkness. It was a goodbye kiss. A final glance before the eternal solitude set in. Since that day, no one has returned. Sadly, there are no confirmed missions planned to return to this Azure world. Given the financial difficulties of space agencies, none are on the horizon. On the other hand, there are whispers of proposals. China is considering a probe that could be launched as soon as 2033, but that is a long way off. And the journey itself would take another decade. So, for now, Neptune sleeps alone. It drifts in the quiet, turning its blue face toward the distant sun. The storms rise and fall, unseen by any camera. The diamonds rain down in the dark, uncounted by any sensor. The moons weave their complex paths, unwatched by any telescope. There is a poignant beauty in this isolation. Along with Uranus, it is the planet we know the least about. It keeps its secrets. It holds its mysteries close to its chest, and perhaps that is how it should be. In a world where everything is mapped, everything is known, and everything is bright, Neptune remains a place of shadow and wonder. It reminds us that there are still frontiers. There are still places where the map ends. Sometimes the best things in life are the ones that seem just out of reach. The fact that we cannot touch it makes it more beautiful. The fact that it is so hard to explore makes the few images we have more precious. Voyager 2 is now billions of kilometers away, far beyond the orbit of Neptune, entering the space between the stars. Its cameras are turned off. Its job is done. It is drifting in the void, a silent metal bottle carrying a message from Earth, floating on the cosmic ocean. And behind it, the blue giant continues its slow, the silence returns to the system. The dust of the rings settles. The wind blows without a sound. We have drifted with the spacecraft. We have seen the wonders. And now we too must drift away. We must let the gravity of the giant go. We must let the image of the blue planet fade into the distance, becoming small, then a dot, then a star, and finally, just a memory in the dark. The exploration is over. The data has been gathered. The mind has been fed. And now, the spirit can rest. And now, as we leave the orbit of the blue giant, let us allow the vessel of our imagination to turn slowly back toward home. But we do not need to rush the return. The journey back is even slower, even quieter than the journey out. We have traveled far tonight. We have drifted through 4.5 billion kilometers of silence. We have seen the invisible planet that was found by the mind before it was found by the eye. We have felt the supersonic winds that make no sound. We have watched the diamond rain falling in the hidden deep. We have stood on the frozen lakes of Triton and watched the geysers paint the sky. But now, it is time to let all of those images soften. Let the bright blue of the planet fade gently into a deep, comforting grey. Let the orange glow of the moon dissolve into the shadows. The facts, the numbers, the names of the rings and the moons, you do not need to hold on to them any longer. Your mind has done enough work for today. It has explored the boundaries of the solar system, and now it deserves to rest. Imagine that you are unburdening yourself of this knowledge. Imagine that the details of the journey are like leaves falling gently from a tree in autumn. They drift away, spinning slowly, landing softly on the ground of your memory, where they will wait for you until you need them again. But for now, the branches are bare. The sky is empty. The mind is clear. We have learned that Neptune is a world of patience. It takes 165 years to make a single circle around the sun. It does not hurry. It does not stress. It simply moves, day after day, year after year, in a perfect, stable rhythm. And you, too, have your own rhythm. Somewhere beneath the noise of your daily life, beneath the rushing and the planning, there is a part of you that is like Neptune. There is a part of you that is vast, deep, and incredibly still. There is a core within you that remains calm, no matter what storms are drifting on the surface. And now, as we leave the orbit of the blue giant, let us allow the vessel of our imagination to turn slowly back toward home. But we do not need to rush the return. The journey back is even slower, even quieter than the journey out. We have traveled far tonight. We have drifted through 4.5 billion kilometers of silence. We have seen the invisible planet that was found by the mind before it was found by the eye. We have felt the supersonic winds that make no sound. We have watched the diamond rain falling in the hidden deep. We have stood on the frozen lakes of Triton and watched the geysers paint the sky. But now, it is time to let all of those images soften. Let the bright blue of the planet fade gently into a deep, comforting grey. Let the orange glow of the moon dissolve into the shadows. The facts, the numbers, the names of the rings and the moons, you do not need to hold on to them any longer. Your mind has done enough work for today. It has explored the boundaries of the solar system, and now it deserves to rest. Imagine that you are unburdening yourself of this knowledge. Imagine that the details of the journey are like leaves falling gently from a tree in autumn. They drift away, spinning slowly, landing softly on the ground of your memory, where they will wait for you until you need them again. But for now, the branches are bare. The sky is empty. The mind is clear. We have learned that Neptune is a world of patience. It takes 165 years to make a single circle around the sun. It does not hurry. It does not stress. It simply moves, day after day, year after year, in a perfect, stable rhythm. And you, too, have your own rhythm. Somewhere beneath the noise of your daily life, beneath the rushing and the planning, there is a part of you that is like Neptune. There is a part of you that is vast, deep, and incredibly still. There is a core within you that remains calm, no matter what storms are drifting on the surface. So bring your awareness back to this moment. Feel the weight of your body sinking deeper into the mattress. Feel the gravity of Earth holding you, just as the gravity of Neptune holds its moons. It is a gentle, constant hug. You are safe. You are supported. You are home. Let your breathing become as slow as the orbit of the outer planets. Inhale, drifting out. Exhale, letting go. Let the darkness of the room wrap around you like the velvet cloak of space. It is a warm darkness. It is a protective darkness. It is the darkness that allows the stars to shine, and it is the darkness that allows you to dream. The universe will continue its dance. The stars will continue their long, slow orbits. The winds of Neptune will continue to flow in their silent rivers. Everything is working exactly as it should. There is nothing you need to manage. There is nothing you need to control. You can let go. You can let go of the day. You can let go of the night. You can simply be. Your eyelids are heavy now. They are closed against the world of light. Behind your eyes, there is a vast, quiet sea. Let yourself sink into it. Let yourself drift away on the tide of sleep. Close your eyes. Rest. And dream of a quiet, radiant sea of stars. Good night.